Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to go through this document that was written out by Crypto Rick, and it's submitted to Ripple with the title Private Ledger in brackets S XRP2 Inquiry Submission. So I'm going to go through this document. In this document he basically asks Ripple 13 questions, and they're mostly related to the private ledger and XRP token, there being an alternative XRP token that may potentially be being used by banks replacing XRP. And he asks them 13 questions. Some of the questions seem very similar. It's as if it's the same question but just rephrased in another way. But anyways, 13 questions, and I'm going to try and answer these questions, bearing in mind my answers could be completely wrong because I'm not Ripple. I don't work for Ripple. I'm just a regular guy that just does research, and that's how I form my answers and conclusions based upon researching, critical thinking, being objective, and so on. And so far, it's been doing well for me. So I'm going to answer these questions with that same method of using the information that I know to answer these questions. So let's get started, shall we? Dear Ripple Labs, or to whom it may concern, many investors of the public XRP community would like further clarification. Now, I would just like to say here, I don't know whether it's many investors, because personally I don't need further clarification at all regarding some topics surrounding the private ledger /S, XRP2, FinCEN, and other unnamed tokens. I definitely don't need any clarification in regards to any of the above, because the reason why I don't need any clarification in regards to any of the above, because all the information is publicly out there. So there's no need for Ripple to give me any clarification. The community seeks direct answers and would appreciate a formal statement from Ripple addressing the following concerns. Now, I feel like he's speaking on behalf of the community here, because I feel like he really wants answers in regards to these questions, not necessarily the XRP community as a whole, but that's neither here or there. The most important thing is going through these questions. So question number 1, can you confirm that it is indeed our identical exclusive public XRP that community members hold that is currently being utilized by banks and central banks on the private ledgers, and there are no other competing or modified XRP, XRP2, XRP-like tokens, or another unnamed untradeable token, either XRPL based or otherwise, that is currently being used on the private ledgers, unbeknown. So he's basically asking, can you confirm that on the private ledgers they're using XRP and they're not using any other token for, and he gives some examples for CBDCs, for high value settlements, ODL, ISO related cross border settlements, that is XRP and there's no other XRP token or XRP2 token, and so on. And that is currently being used on the private ledger. So he wants to know that it's XRP being used in the private ledger, unbeknown to the public and nothing else, or sold in secret by Ripple Labs, and that they're not selling any other alternative token other than XRP, Jed McCaleb, or any subsidiary of Ripple, including personal private wallets, which is currently moving value without the public's knowledge. So there's multiple questions in this question, for example. So if you say, can you confirm that is indeed our identical exclusive public XRP that is currently being utilized by banks and central banks on the private ledger? How do we know at the moment that any banks are actually using the private ledgers yet for anything? And even if they are using the private ledger, let's go back to this diagram that I made. Even if these banks do have set up a private ledger with Ripple, if you understand how it works, these banks within their sidechain can use anything they want. The Bank of Brazil, the Bank of Europe created a federated sidechain with Ripple. They could, in their world, in their private sidechain, they could create their own token. That is fine. They could use whatever they want to use in their sidechain. Each of these banks could have their own CBDCs. They don't have to use XRP within their sidechains. Okay, so if he wants a confirmation in the first part that on the private ledger the only thing that's going to be used is XRP exclusively, then no, it's not. The bank has freedom to use anything they want on their private network sidechains. Okay, and then he gives some examples like CBDC private sidechains, high value settlements, ODL, ISO related cross-border settlements. And then it gets a bit complicated here now, because each of these examples are different from the other. So for example, a CBDC private sidechain, on a CBDC private sidechain, a bank could use anything they want on their token. These are CBDC private sidechains, for examples. Look at the diagram. And then he says high value settlements. Now, if a high value settlement is occurring, for example, cross-border, where the Bank of Europe wants to privately pay the Federal Reserve USA CBDC to CBDC, then for high value settlement, now it's going to be a bit more complex, because they're both going to have their own CBDC. Unless they both agree to accept, for example, the CBDC of the other country without needing to convert it, then yes, I don't see why they can't set up a private link between each other and pay each other with whatever currency they are willing to accept from each other. However, if they don't want to accept each other's CBDCs and they want instant conversions, then they're going to need a bridge asset. And we know already the XRPL already has a native bridge asset, and that's XRP. And these sidechains could also use XRP if they see it necessary, or they see XRP is something that is going to solve a solution for them and is fit for them to use. So the option of using XRP is always there. If you understand what the purpose is of XRP, you'd understand why they would want to or need to use it within their sidechains, because it solves a problem of interoperability, cross-border payments, and it's a neutral bridge asset. So he's basically saying, are they going to be using XRP for high value settlements? And I'm going to say this: yes, they can use XRP for high value settlements, and the likelihood is they're going to use XRP for high value settlements, especially if it's cross-border payments between each other, because it's a neutral bridge asset. And the chances are of them using another token is going to be very slim, because we're going to have a problem of who wants to accept that token. Which bank would be willing to accept that token? Or if it's a created token, for example, the Bank of Europe is going to create its own bridge asset. Okay, that means they're going to have governance over that token. Now, why would the Bank of Russia want to accept or use a bridge token that is centralized and created by the Bank of Europe? It's not going to work. It has to be a decentralized token for all these banks in different parts of the world, and to accept it and feel comfortable trading through it, because it's neutral. So that's very important. So that's where XRP comes into play. And he says ODL. Again, when it comes to ODL, on-demand liquidity, we know XRP has that feature of on-demand liquidity via the liquidity hub, and you can get that feature on the public XRPL main chain as well. And there's no other token that has that feature, on-demand liquidity. Now, if they were to create a token of their own accord in the private chains, in the private networks, it still won't have on-demand liquidity, because for it to have on-demand liquidity, it has to be accepted by all the banks as a token that they're willing to accept and trust. Whereas if it's a token that they're not willing to accept and trust, then it won't have the ability to provide on-demand liquidity, if that makes sense. On-demand liquidity, with what XRP is trying to solve, only works really and truly efficiently if it's a token that is neutral. Then he says ISO related cross-border settlements. So he basically asks, can you confirm that is indeed our identical exclusive public XRP that is currently being utilized by banks and central banks on the private ledger? So to answer, they can use any token they want on the private ledger. They can create their own token on the private ledger. They are free to do that. The private ledger gives them that freedom. However, XRP has a unique and specific purpose that on the private ledger, it will be difficult for them to recreate or replicate the concept of XRP, because XRP is neutral and decentralized, whereas any token a bank creates within their sidechain on the private ledger would not be neutral and it would not be decentralized. So they can't replicate XRP, its concept, its purpose, its function. They won't be able to replicate it in a successful manner. I hope that's clear. I hope that makes sense. but at the same time, they could create any token they want. If they want to go out there and venture to create an alternative XRP token, by all means, go out there and do it. But wish them the best with having the rest of the world. For example, if America wants to go out there and do it, I wish the USA, the Federal Reserve, the best with trying to get the rest of the world to utilize their centralized token as a cross-border payment. It's not going to happen. The Bank of Russia is not going to trust it. The Bank of China is not going to trust it. Do you understand what I'm saying? There's going to be banks in Africa and Asia that are not going to be willing to accept the Federal Reserve's private token. And this is where XRP provides them with a solution, a fit purpose that they could use amongst each other in the private networks, and it's unique in its purpose. So, and there are no other competing or modified XRP, XRP2, XRP-like tokens. No, there isn't any other competing or modified XRP tokens. We have XRP or we have another token. Do you understand what I'm saying? So here we have the main native XRP that banks could use in the sidechains, or if they're using another token, it's another token. It's not a modified version of XRP. There is no XRP, XRP 1.0, XRP 2.0, XRP 3.0, XRP 2, XRP 5. And this is the idea that he's trying to put out there, that maybe there's two XRP tokens, the public XRP token and the private XRP token. No, there's only one XRP token that can move between the private layers and the public layers. And if the banks are creating another token, it's not going to be XRP. I mean, I'm spending so much time on the first question because it's such a loaded question. Look how long it is. So yeah, so I think I've answered question number 1. So let's move to question number 2. Now you'll see that the questions are very, very similar. Can you confirm there are no other tokens that are currently performing the same job of public XRP? No, there are no other tokens that are currently performing the same job of public XRP. There isn't any, including being the native token for the XRPL. The only native token for the XRPL is XRP. And this is easily proven. Just go to the XRP Explorers and you would see, for example, this is literally live updates of the transactions that's happening on the XRP ledger. You would see the only token that's being used is XRP. XRP scan. The only token that's being burned is XRP. The only token that's being used in any of these ledgers for payments, let's just an XRPL ledger, is a XRP, XRP, XRP. Any other token is basically not native to the XRP ledger. There's an issued token, but the only native token is XRP. So to say, can you confirm that there are no other tokens that are currently performing the same job of public XRP, including being the native token for the XRPL? The XRPL only has one native token. The XRPL does not have multiple native tokens or using Ripple technology directly without the use of publicly held XRP. And no, there are no other tokens that are basically performing the same job of XRP on the public ledger or the private ledger. And the reason why we can't have another token, that isn't XRP on the private ledger trying to perform its same job is because, as I've explained already, it wouldn't be neutral, it wouldn't be decentralized, and that would be a massive problem on the private chains as to who owns that token, who governs that token, who are the validators over that token. Is it possible that this token and whoever controls it, has the ability to censor transactions, has the ability to freeze transactions, has the ability to prevent another country from using that token? And it would be possible if it's a private token created in one of these private sidechains. Whereas with the XRP token, because of its nature, no one can control it. That's why it's neutral and decentralized. There is no single authority figure that can control or entity the XRP token. So this question here it's a bit nonsensical, asking if there's two tokens on the XRPL network or if there's another token that's an XRP token that can perform the same job of XRP. Like, if you understand how XRP works, you would know that it's a nonsensical question, and I doubt Ripple are going to spend time, to be honest, answering these questions. I would actually be surprised if he gets a response back from Ripple answering these questions. Because, I mean, I can imagine them just looking through it, skimming over it, and someone just basically deleting the email. So number 3, can you confirm that there is no other undeclared supply of XRP in any other capacity other than that of stated public supply? In other words, 100 billion public XRP tokens. So he's asking, can we confirm that the supply of XRP isn't more than 100 billion? Of course, the supply of XRP isn't more than 100 billion. Let's go to the ledger. This is a public ledger, and this feeds the data of all the transactions that are happening in real time. You can see it, look at it updating, look at 2 seconds, ledgers that are being closed, transactions that are happening in real time, and it gives you the data of the supply of XRP. Here it says here, XRP burned of all time, so far 10.8 million XRP has been burned. Okay, I want to click on this. It tells you the total coins. Now the total XRP available on the ledger, it's 99,989,181,360. Okay, and the reason why it's not 100 billion, because when you do the math and you subtract the burned coins, which is 10.8, let's say 10.8 billion, okay, from 100 billion, it would give you this number here, and it says XRP. So to say here, can you confirm there is no other undeclared supply of XRP? If XRP, okay, considering it's a public, the XRPL is a public blockchain, and XRP is native to that public blockchain, if it has a higher capacity or supply than 100 billion tokens, it would be public knowledge. And if another token exists that has like an issued token on the XRP ledger that is called XRP2, for example, and it has a higher supply than 100 billion, then guess what? It's not XRP. If it has a supply that's less than 100 billion, it's not XRP. It's another token that's issued on the ledger. So this question, it makes no sense really. I don't understand how can that there's no other undeclared supply. Where are they hiding this undeclared supply of XRP? If it's not on the ledger to be seen, considering XRP is the native token for the XRPL, then where are they hiding this hidden supply? This would have been exposed ages ago from the amount of developers that have worked on the open source XRP ledger. In the code, they would have seen that there's a possibility to increase the supply of XRP, and this has never been exposed. So there's no basis to this question because it makes no sense. Okay, wherein the XRP was used privately by central bankers for moving high value payments. He's saying, is the supply of XRP more than 100 billion? That is different from the public supply, and this excess supply is basically used on a private network by central banks for moving high value payments. No, because if you go back to how this works, central banks, where do they obtain their XRP from? They obtain it from the federator, the federated sidechain. They have a sidechain and they have a federator. The federator is connected to the XRPL main chain, and it enables them to move value back and forth. They can get XRP from the main chain and bring it up to the private network into their sidechain. They are not using another XRP, or they're not using XRP but a different version with a different supply, which means it's not XRP, but that's not what's happening. They are taking XRP from the supply of what XRP is on the main chain. There is no 2 XRPs, or there's no 100 billion XRP on the public side, but then on the side network there's 50 billion plus that's not accounted for on the public side. There's no foundation to any of this. Can you confirm there are no additional private supply of XRP? No, there's no additional private supply of XRP. XRP2 is not even a token, and I've covered this already. XRP2 is an limited liability company, and even if there was a token called XRP2, which there is one, it's not XRP. It's a whole different asset that's issued on the XRP ledger, or other competing XRPL based tokens. Now, how can you have an XRPL based token that's competing with XRP? That makes no sense. An XRPL based token is a token that's issued on the XRP ledger. To be issued on the XRP ledger, that means you are dependent on on the XRP ledger, and the XRP ledger's native token is XRP. That means you even need XRP for gas fees. So how could you take over the function and role of XRP whilst you're dependent upon it? Does that make sense? And I give the example. It's equivalent to an ERC20 token being issued on the Ethereum network, and they're trying to take over Ethereum whilst being dependent upon the whole Ethereum ecosystem and network. It's illogical. It's never going to happen, and no one's ever going to try it because it's not going to work. Okay, base tokens that puts the public XRP in partial obsolescence. So it's basically saying, is there a threat to XRP again by a created token that puts public XRP in partial obsolescence, or does XRP have more than the supply of 100 billion on the private side that puts the public XRP in partial obsolescence? And to both of those questions, the answer is no, no, no. Number 4, can you confirm that federators who operate a private sidechain, namely that of private central bankers, cannot by collusion determine on an agreed price of private XRP rather than the free fair market price of private XRP? And can you confirm that this hasn't happened? So back to my diagram. He's basically saying, can these federators, and I've covered all this in my previous 2 videos, but I'm going to cover it again. Can these sidechains basically work together, collude together, and in their private network, they decide to use XRP at a higher price, whilst on the public side, it's at a lower price? Now, again, I've covered this before, but the reason that makes no sense is because which bank is going to accept XRP from another bank at an inflated price when they each have connection to the XRPL main chain and they can source XRP themselves for a cheaper price? And I gave you the example. If it's $1 on the XRPL main chain and banks are trying to say, let's make it $1,000 per token, the bank that is willing to accept it at $1,000 per token is a complete fool. Because why would you accept XRP at $1,000 per token when you can source it for $1? And let's just say five of these banks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, wanted to be idiots and say we're going to use XRP at $1,000 per token, but they couldn't convince the rest of the world to do so because the rest of the world said, I'm not going to pay $1,000 per token when I can get it from the main chain for $1 per token. So what is going to happen? There's going to be a massive arbitrage opportunity where the rest of the world can source XRP for $1 from the main chain, and in the private networks, they could sell it for $1,000 per token, and they could keep doing that, profiting until there's equilibrium. But this is never going to happen like that. It's so far-fetched that there's going to be a massive price difference because of arbitrage. So because of this arbitrage opportunity, there's not going to be a massive price difference, and no bank is going to accept XRP at an inflated price when each of them have access to XRP from the federator and they could source it at the public price or the market price. So this question again, can you confirm that this hasn't happened? Whether it's happening or not, it's not going to last. If it is happening, it's stupid because there's going to be arbitraged opportunities for the banks that are refusing to accept that inflated price. If it is happening, it won't last for long, and any bank that is accepting XRP at an inflated price is completely ridiculous because they could buy it they can source it anyways at a cheap price, so they're just ripping themselves off. So it's a scenario that's far-fetched, and if it does happen, there would be banks or entities that benefit from the arbitrage opportunities that take place, that would occur, that would present itself. So number 5, can you please state the current market price of the private XRP being used on the private ledgers being operated by central bankers? The market price is going to be the same as the public market price. There's not going to be 2 different prices. There's not going to be $1,000 XRP up here and $1 XRP down here. I've already explained why. It's going to be the same. And at the moment, I'm not even sure if there is any private ledgers by central banks that are really active in using XRP like this, for example. I don't think that exists yet. The ability to create federated sidechains exists, but whether central banks around the world are using it, I don't think that exists yet. Most of them don't even have CBDCs, except for a few countries. So what are they really moving on these private ledgers if they have them created for themselves? Yeah, so that's number 5 answered. Can you confirm that the XRP II Fund LLC, now named XRP II LLC, was selling publicly held XRP from the publicly stated supply of 100 billion tokens? Of course, they were selling it from the supply of 100 billion tokens, because if they were selling it from another supply, then it isn't XRP. And if you look at all the documentation regarding the incident of XRP2 and the selling of XRP in the documents, they mention the word XRP. FinCEN states that Ripple, the XRP2 fund, was selling a virtual currency and they refer to it as XRP. So to say, are they selling, can you confirm that they're selling a XRP and not something else? If they're selling something else, then it isn't XRP, and that means there's blatant criminal offences taking place if you're claiming to be selling XRP, but really you're selling something totally different. This is why Ripple is not going to take this document seriously, guys. Look at the questions. I mean, Ripple is going to just delete the email and probably block the person sending them this document. If they actually respond back to this, I'm going to be really impressed. Okay, and that the XRP sold by XRP2 was not a different token. No, the XRP sold by XRP2 was XRP. It's all in the documentations. Held is not a different token to the publicly held XRP, including XRP2. There's no XRP2 token. It doesn't exist. It's just a made-up theory that's been given way too much attention than it deserves. A modified XRP. You have to understand, there's no such thing as a modified XRP. It's either XRP or not XRP. It's equivalent to saying Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Satoshi Vision, Bitcoin Red are all Bitcoins. No, there isn't multiple Bitcoins. There is only Bitcoin. The moment you fork from the Bitcoin network and you create Bitcoin Satoshi Vision, okay, you are not Bitcoin anymore. Bitcoin Red, Bitcoin Cash, you are not Bitcoin anymore. If you modify it, you are not Bitcoin. The same concept applies here. There's only one XRP token that's native to the XRP ledger. It has 100 billion tokens. If you alter the supply, okay, then you are not XRP anymore. If you modify the code, then you are not XRP anymore. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it says a modified XRP with different lines of coding. Then it's not XRP. A different XRPO token. Then it's not XRP. A non-tradable, freely available asset or another token other than public XRP. Then it's not XRP. So number 6, if this has ever occurred, then it isn't XRP. As for the Ripple selling the token, they were selling XRP. Can you confirm, number 7, can you confirm whether the full value present on the private ledgers, federated sidechains, will be transmitted in full into the public XRPL network and the public XRP token, and that no walled gardens will prevent the free utilization of this value via other competing tokens, undeclared or undeclared direct Ripple technology, contrary to publicly held XRP. Okay, can you confirm whether the full value present on the private ledgers, so the value present on these private ledgers here, okay, will be transmitted in full into the public XRP network? No, it won't. So if he's asking whether there's going to be a merge, then there would never be a merge. And the values on these private networks are not necessarily going to be all on the XRP chain. The whole idea of having a private network is because it gives these banks the ability to have and create tokens that they see fit within their network, within their sidechain, to basically have their own CBDCs, and it does not necessarily mean the value that they have within their sidechain, even though there's a federator connected where they can move tokens across, it does not necessarily mean that these banks are going to do that. And they're never going to actually merge, because merging defeats the purpose of having a sidechain. Okay, so to ask this question, that can you confirm whether the full value present on the ledgers will basically be transmitted to the public XRP network? No, Ripple can't confirm that, because it's up to the banks whether they want to basically offload everything onto their public network from their sidechain. How could Ripple confirm what each individual private network sidechain is going to do? And that there will be no walled gardens. No, they can't confirm that. Maybe the banks want walled gardens for a reason. Will prevent the free utilization of this value via other competing tokens, undeclared tokens, or undeclared direct Ripple technology contrary to publicly held XRP. Okay, so Ripple can't confirm that. However, that does not take away anything from the value and purpose of XRP. XRP the token has a unique purpose. It's trying to solve a unique problem of being a cross-border intermediary medium that tokens can pass through, and it's also a liquidity token, and it's decentralized, it's neutral. Now, this is a unique purpose of XRP. Should it happen that banks realize they need such a thing as XRP in order to transact with one another, then guess what? They are easily able to utilize XRP to do it. They can take it from the public chain, source it into the private network, and they could utilize XRP amongst each other. And they could utilize XRP amongst each other via the public main chain as well. So XRP has a purpose, and just because a private sidechain is not going to offload all of its private content and whatever value it has on its private sidechain into the public network, it does not take anything away from the XRP token. I hope that makes sense. So number 8, can you state the reason as to why XRP Fund II was created to sell and distribute XRP, and why this wasn't done directly by Ripple Labs? Now, there is a reason for that, and David Schwartz mentioned it in one of his tweets, and the main reason is because that by creating another company or another subsidiary for this function of selling XRP tokens, then whatever rules and regulations that needs to be abided by, that specific company can be responsible for registering and abiding by those rules and regulations, and it wouldn't have to apply to Ripple. So Ripple wouldn't be restricted or limited by any of the requirements of that said company XRP II Fund that is selling XRP, because it's not Ripple that's selling XRP, it's that company, even though it's a subsidiary of Ripple, but Ripple won't be responsible for having to abide by any of the rules, regulations that company would have to abide by for selling XRP2. So I hope that makes sense. That's one of the main reasons why they created a whole different company to distribute XRP rather than Ripple doing it themselves. When you think you know better than people like Matt Hamilton, David Schwartz, Brad Garlinghouse, the other developers that have worked for Ripple, and you think you know more than they do, then you're going to look stupid in the end. And that's the thing. I don't try to challenge what they say. Whereas these people, like this document, is trying to challenge what these developers have said, because a lot of these questions are answered already. And this is what happens. You go down this rabbit hole, and you go down a rabbit hole of confusion with unfounded theories that you can't substantiate anything yourself. And all these questions are based on no evidence. This is why I don't think Ripple's going to take it seriously. That's what I don't do. I listen to these developers in the space, and I take what they say seriously, and I respect the fact that they know more than I do. And I don't think that they are, as some people imply, oh, they are under NDAs. So what if they are under NDAs? Just because you are under an NDA, it doesn't mean, okay, you're going to go out there and lie to people now, is it? Just because you're under a non-disclosure agreement and you can't talk about a certain thing and someone asks you a question, what would you do? You just say, I can't talk about it, or ignore the question? Or would you intentionally go out there, which is what some people are implying, and lie to the public? Imagine that, yeah, that's what you're intentionally trying to do. Okay, you as an individual, you are under an NDA, but you know you can't talk about something. So you say to yourself, you know what, I'm going to intentionally go out there and lie to the public. Don't you care about what other people, your colleagues, your peers, Ripple, the company, okay, you're publicly lying on Twitter. When they look at you and think, oh, this sort of individual is a liar, that would ruin your credibility amongst your peers. That would ruin your credibility amongst all of them. You see that so-and-so is a liar. So just when people say they are under NDAs, it's as if they're saying because they are under NDAs, they can say what they want, they can lie. No, being under an NDA just means you can't talk about certain things. It doesn't mean you can go out there and intentionally lie about it. And if you are someone with any morals, ethics, you care about your reputation, okay, then you're not going to deliberately lie about things that you can't talk about. You're just not going to talk about it. And I don't think these developers, when they talk about these issues, they are lying, as some people are trying to imply. I'm not saying Crypto Rick is trying to imply it, but I've seen people who have commented on my videos and said, oh, these developers are going to say that because they are under NDAs and they basically they can't be trusted. Why are you implying that they're lying for? Anyways, number 9, can you confirm there are no price suppressive measures occurring either directly or indirectly with regards to publicly held XRP despite ISO 20022 ODL going live? Can you confirm there are no price suppressive measures occurring either directly or indirectly with regards to publicly? Okay, I get it. He's basically saying that because because ISO 20022 and ODL is live and the price of XRP clearly hasn't appreciated to the amounts he expected them to. So can you confirm that there's nothing happening to suppress the price of XRP? Now, to this question, I'm going to say this. ISO 20022 is live. I've done a whole series on this. Just because the messaging format has been upgraded from the FinMT messages to the MX standard, and it has a whole bunch of benefits, just because it has been upgraded in and of itself, it does not mean banks are using XRP, and the proof is in the pudding. When November the 21st happened, did XRP get utilized by any banks? No. But according to this question, he's basically saying that banks are using XRP or should be using XRP, but the price isn't appreciating, so there must be some price suppression. No. The reason why the price has not increased when ISO 20022 went live is because banks are not using XRP, and just because ISO 20022 is live, it does not mean by default that they have to use XRP. ISO 20022 is a stepping stone in the right direction, but it's not the destination. And I've said this over and over again. The developers were saying this back in I think last year or earlier on this year. They were saying this time ago. I just started talking about it on YouTube in September. And I didn't even make it up. It was just my research from people that know more than me. And I was just presenting that information to you. And they were right. These people, hopium hyped content creators going out there saying that ISO 20022 means XRP is going to be used were wrong, because they don't even understand what ISO 20022 is. Now, as for ODL going live, I've done a video on this as well. And the reason why there's no price appreciation despite the fact that ODL is live is because of the utility of ODL. The utility of ODL isn't substantial enough. If you look at the companies that are using ODL, they are like small, medium businesses. They are payment service providers, and they are using it. If you look at the volume that they even process a year, it's insignificant. It's not impactful enough. So ODL is live, but we're still very early in regards to ODL adoption. Give ODL time. Let ODL be adopted by banks. Let ODL be adopted by RTGS systems. Let ODL be adopted by central banks, RTGS systems, and let ODL be adopted for all forms of value. As I've done videos on the potential of ODL being adopted to basically handle all value, digital value, and we're still so early in ODL adoption. So to expect XRP to skyrocket because of where we are now in terms of ODL adoption, it's not going to happen. Give it time. And to expect XRP to skyrocket because ISO 20022 has gone live, okay, it's just a messaging standard that has been improved that can lead to potential DLT utility and adoption. But where we are now, banks are not doing that yet. So ISO 20022 going live is not going to impact on the price of XRP unless it's speculative, but it's not going to be from demand yet. And as for ODL, where we are now, okay, its adoption is not great enough to have a impact on the price of XRP. And this is why we've seen no price appreciation from utility, despite these two things going live. And that has nothing to do with price suppression. If banks around the world are all using ODL, and that replaced correspondent banking and Nostro Vostro pre-funded accounts, and XRP was the main token, okay, handling all of that, then no amount of price suppression would be able to push the price down with the amount of demand that will be going through XRP every second. Do you understand what I'm saying? So this question is flawed because ODL and ISO 20022 is not really understood properly. Number 10, has publicly held XRP been modified? It's like I feel like I've answered this question already, in any shape, way or form, including subtle coding to that XRP held by the private central bankers. Nope, because if they modify it, then it's not XRP. Number 11, can you state the reason why Ripple was sued by the SEC for the sale of unregistered securities when XRP was already deemed a virtual currency by FinCEN in 2015? I'm not going to answer this question because it's a speculative one, and who knows why they were sued again. Was it to delay Ripple adoption by banks? I mean, there's so much theories out there, and it has nothing to do with private ledgers, public ledgers, or XRP, XRP2. So I'm going to skip at number 11 and go to number 12. Can you clarify if the private CBDC ledger federated sidechain is currently a testnet, devnet, or mainnet? So he's asking, are these federated sidechains the private CBDC layer, whether it's testnet, devnet, or mainnet? And that's, I guess, something that Ripple could answer, because I know the federated sidechain exists for people to create. However, are banks creating federated sidechains? I don't know. And if they are creating it, how are they using it? I mean, most of these banks don't even have CBDC, so maybe they are using it as a test net. Mainnets, when he says mainnet, I'm assuming he means, are they actually full throttle running in the private sidechains, these banks? I don't think they're doing that yet. So maybe they're just testing it out probably, and there's devnets as well. But yeah, that's number 12. Can you clarify whether the private federated sidechains used by central bankers for high-value settlements are testnet, devnets, or are they mainnets? Now, I don't think any of these federated sidechains are being used yet by banks for high-value settlements. If you look at the documentation, these banks are not using, at the moment, for high-value settlement, crypto. They're using correspondent banking. And this is what I was saying from day one. I said ISO 20022, come November, when it goes live on March 2023, okay, is not going to be DLT-based systems. They're still going to be using correspondent banking. Guess what? How did I know? Am I a genius? No, I'm not a genius. The documentation told me. Did I show you the documentation? Yes, I did. Did many of you ignore it? Yes, you did. But why? Because you thought you were smarter than the documentation. And people were saying, some content creators were saying that I don't know how to do my research properly. Meanwhile, they were pumping up videos saying November, ISO 20022 going live, banks are going to be using XRP. Who doesn't know how to do research properly? November has passed. Guess what? Cross-border payments are still occurring by banks worldwide. ISO 20022 is live by many banks worldwide. And XRP is still low priced. Why is that? Because they are not using XRP, despite ISO 20022 being live, and still high-value payments are being sent around the world. So how are they doing it? They are using correspondent banking. And by the way, correspondent banking alongside ISO 20022 and pre-funded liquidity does not take 3 to 5 days to settle. As some people say that, but that's not true. That's not how it works. Because the whole idea of ISO 20022 is to improve the speed of all of this. So if the messaging layer is fast, then the settlement layer is also going to be fast, because how does correspondent banking work? Correspondent banking works with pre-funded liquidity. The money is already there in the banks. So all it is just updating and debiting and crediting accounts of the recipient. The money is already there because the liquidity is pre-funded. So once the messaging layer, is handled, and that process is more efficient, and ISO 20022 enables that, a more efficient, faster messaging layer, because all banks are on the same standard. Once that goes through, then the settlement can occur more or less instantaneously, because the money is already there. It's not like the messaging layer is going to be super fast and then the settlement layer is going to be 5 days later, when the money is literally there. It just needs to be internally in their databases updated as to which account gets what. So ISO 20022 and correspondent banking improves the waiting time for settlement. It's not the same as XRP, where it's instantaneous settlement without the need for pre-funded liquidity. However, it's still a better system than the previous one, where it took 3 to 5 days. With ISO 20022, it will definitely reduce that time frame. Hopefully the next step is eliminating pre-funded liquidity, eliminating nostro-vostro accounts and correspondent banking, and just using a DLT-based system with CBDCs, and having a token like XRP being the source of liquidity, with instant settlement, literally in real time. So the messages, it goes through, the payment is sent, and both of them are after the message, the payment is literally not long after, 3 to 5 seconds, and there's no liquidity tied up. Hopefully that's the next stage. Back to the question. The question was, can you clarify that the private federated sidechains used by central banks for high value settlements so are they basically using these sidechains for high value settlements? And I think at the moment they're not, and I think at the moment they're still using correspondent banking. That's what I think. They're not using the private sidechains for high value settlements just yet. So lastly, on behalf of the XRP community, we believe that these answers are necessary. No, I'm a part of the XRP community, and I really do not need Ripple to answer these questions for me. For the ongoing trust, nope, me personally, don't speak on my behalf because I don't need it for the ongoing trust in current and future investments of Ripple Labs. Nope, I fully understand what XRP is. I fully understand the purpose it's trying to solve, and I do not need Ripple to clarify this for me in order for me to trust my investment or have confidence in my investment. I'm perfectly confident without Ripple clarifying any of this for me. And the need to stifle misinformation. Where is this misinformation coming from? This misinformation is coming from people who refuse to look at the information and accept it. That's where this misinformation is coming from. When you have a developer, when you have someone that explains it to you and you still refuse to accept it, and you want to go on this theory that it's everything but what it is, this is where you get misinformation currently circulating in the community. So this is why misinformation is currently circulating in the community, and it's nothing to do with Ripple, it's nothing to do with Ripple Labs, it's the XRP community themselves. They are spreading the misinformation. Kind regards, public XRP investors / stakeholders. Okay, that's it for now. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification icon so as to not miss my next video. Take care and goodbye.